Players were in this morning. Got an opportunity to watch the tape. A lot of good, but a lot of things that we can learn from too. And looking forward to this week, continuing to get better. Looking forward to homecoming week here. Know it's a noon kickoff, but expect our fans to show up and show out in a great way and create a great environment. But it's a great opportunity to welcome back so many of our alumni here, and so looking forward to that. November is also Alzheimer's Awareness Month, and we have a unique opportunity to honor the legacy of Pat Summitt. We'll be doing that at the game with our uniform, but we'll also be doing it with a commemorative cup that everybody can purchase, a $1 purchase. All that will go to the UT Medical Research on Alzheimer's. So with that, I'll open it up.
Questions?
After watching the tape, how do you rate how Dante did on the outside?
Dante had a really nice performance. I thought he did a really good job with the ball not in his hands, and when the ball came his way, he made plays. He was comfortable and performed extremely well.
John is saying.
Coach, we wanted to ask you this for a few weeks, but at ball calls, I always notice you do a really good job with all the fans, but especially the younger fans. Just where did that come from with you? Is it from your playing days, being on that stage, or why do you take so much pride in treating the younger fans the way you do?
Yeah, I think for me, just as a young kid that grew up around the game, I know how influential any and all of those moments were for me in my life. And I grew up a fan of a lot of major colleges, but of NFL and professional sports, I should say, and got an opportunity to meet a lot of those people. My uncle lived in the Twin Cities, and took me to a lot of those events, and those moments all mattered to me. I just remembered how I was treated in those moments from those players, good and bad, and so you just try to make an impact and be present in that moment when you can.
Kamal had an announced on his Instagram late last week about the season-ending injury. So I guess just first your reaction to that and how the secondary played without him.
Yeah, extremely disappointed for him. That's a young guy that came into our program that's continued to grow on the field, but off the field too. He was playing his best football. You just hate seeing that the season ends up being taken away, and so that's hard for those guys emotionally, and they missed the opportunity just to be in the locker room and be with the guys. So your heart goes out to them. I thought the guys that had the opportunity to play stepped in and did some really good things. We're going to need to continue to grow there too to perform the way that we want to down the stretch.
Karthik in the back.
Coach Jalen Wright has been really impressive this year with his yards per carry. I mean, he hasn't really gotten 20 carries in a game, and he's well on his way to 1,000 yards for the season. How impressive has it been for you for everything he's been able to accomplish and those yards after contact?
Yeah, playing exceptional football, big, strong, physical. Has the last gear to take it the distance when he gets into the open grass. But his efficiency in what we've done, just understanding the schemes against the defensive looks that he's getting, being able to press it, hit the holes at the right time, and just been really special player. Really proud just how he's grown. I think I said it earlier in the year, but as a young guy with great physical traits that wanted to just run around everybody, learning how to actually play the position, and he's done that with his ball in his hands. Everybody sees that. He's become a really good football player without the ball in his hands too. Like you look at him in pass protection, he's done an elite job.
Rob, then Eric.
Coach Joe's game the other night, the most accurate, passing performance, I guess, according to Bill Martin, since 2016. He's making plays out of structure, keeping his eyes down the field. Where's the progress coming from? Where do you see him making steps?
Just continued growth. There's been a lot of moving parts in front of him. There's been a lot of moving parts out on the perimeter. Just continued growth, throughout the season, getting comfortable, being in sync with those guys. The fine details of it. Saturday night we created explosive plays on scramble drills. We hadn't done that in a long time, and maybe since we've gotten here at that level. And wide receivers breaking off the routes, doing the right thing when Joe breaks contain. Joe was uber efficient, great with his eyes. good fundamentally and extremely accurate with the football. It was a really good performance by him.
Josh, kind of building off that, he made a couple of plays, throws outside the pocket that was, really good. How has he gotten better out of the pocket, throwing on the run, throwing off platform?
Well, I just think, fundamentally he's gotten better over his time here. Everybody being in sync and breaking off gives him the ability to make some of those plays. But being a guy that is more comfortable when he breaks contain of not just being a run first guy, but keeping his eyes down the football field allows those things to happen too. Being able to get in a good fundamental position when he had time to. When you're on the run, there's gonna be times where you're not to, and so those awkward throws, he's continued to improve upon.
Austin?
Calvin returns to November this week. Kind of where's Keenan Peely at in his process of recovery, and just at what point do you have to talk about potentially, either shutting down or applying for a medical register, or is it full go to play at the end of the year?
Keenan's not ready to go in this one, so we'll continue to monitor his progress and his ability to get back on the field here late in the year. And Keenan's got a lot of good football ahead of him. He'll have to make a decision on what's best for him and his family.
Adam?
Back to Dante Thornton. Sometimes we think of transfer receivers as like an immediate hit or miss, but how typical is it that it's a gradual process and guys have to find a role or a way they can break out?
Well, I think it's a gradual process no matter what in becoming as efficient and effective inside of any offense, but our offense. As young players, typically from year 1 to year 2, the jump wide receivers make is pretty dramatic in what we do. Dante's growth and journey is a little bit different. I say that because he missed a majority of spring, missed a majority of training camp, and so he's still really early in the process of playing within what we do. Thought the other night he was comfortable, was really good at the line of scrimmage, down the football field. I believe, and we need him to continue to excel and play really good football here down the stretch.
Was it important for you and the coaches to continue to believe in him or show that you had confidence
Yeah,
in him?
absolutely. I think that's true for all of these guys. You got to point out the things that they need to get better at, right? You got to give them a plan to do that on the field, off the field. They got to understand the journey. But you also got to be somebody that speaks life and belief into these young players too. I think that's really important that you balance all of those sides of it.
Questions? Gotcha.
Coach John Campbell was ACC Offensive Lineman of the Week. Obviously, he has a lot of energy when we talk to him, when we see him. What's he done for you guys on the field?
Loves to talk about Waffle House.
Never, yeah, right. But what has he done on the field to help solidify the left tackle position? And the other night he got hurt a little bit, came back in. What kind of toughness is that from him?
Yeah, first of all, he's smart, he cares, he works at it. He came in, wanted to be a great teammate. He brings energy to his teammates every single day. That's in the locker room, it's in the meeting room, it's in the weight room. He's very consistent in his work habits. He demands a lot of the guys around him. He's not afraid to speak up, and that's in the offensive line room, that's in the offensive unit room, that's within our inside of our team setting too. And all of that, I think, has parlayed itself into him being really integrated into the team really quickly. And as he's grown through the season, he's continued to improve. Named Offensive Lineman of the Week, great recognition for him. How he played this week, but also how he's played throughout the course of the season. He plays extremely physical. He finishes. He plays the part of a Tennessee offensive lineman.
Eric and Vince?
Early in the week, but when you look at UConn, what stands out about that team offensively, defensively?
Yeah, I think, again, the line of scrimmage is going to be important. We can't let them have balance offensively. We got to disrupt the line of scrimmage, and then we got to get off the field on third downs. We got to do a great job of applying pressure to the quarterback. Haven't gotten home here much over the last couple of weeks, so that'll be important. Special teams are going to need to be solid, I think last Saturday, our specialists did a really good job. You look at Charles Campbell, the performance that he had. Josh Heupel, kickoff, Jackson Ross. We're going to need that from those guys this week and throughout the course of the season. Offensively, we're gonna need to have balance in this one. You gotta be able to run the football, and we gotta go win on the outside. So, you know, the story doesn't change a whole lot from week to week, but within that, the matchups are gonna be critical.
Vince.
As you know, Bru McCoy was such a good blocker. What have you thought about your blocking on the perimeter, receivers and everybody out there?
Yeah, it's been pretty good. They played with great effort. Haven't won every one of the matchups, but they've been physical and played hard. And you know, we didn't have a lot of perimeter touches last week. Some of that was by design, but those guys have done what has been asked of them out on the perimeter. Bru is a special physicality out on the perimeter too.
Adam.
Late in the year, you've got injuries, so younger players are starting to play more. What impact does game performance have when you're judging guys in the offseason for next year? Not just practice, but how they perform in games.
Well, it's you know, how you base moving forward. Every Sunday you look at that, your personnel, how you think you want to play. Injuries play a part in, you know, how those reps are divvied up. You know, when you finish the season, there's a baseline of this is who he is, this is where he's at. Man, there's a long journey before you get back on the field for a game. And, you know, I call it a journey a lot. You guys hear me say that, but it really is, man. Like, there's such a difference from year to year with players. You have to let them, you have a real meeting of this is, you know, who you've been. Here's how you have to change on and off the field in the weight room to become the player that you want to and the player that we need you to be. But you gotta let them go through that process too, and you gotta evaluate, you know, young people for who they are today, not who they were yesterday.
Last question, Aaron.
Dylan Sampson continues to be a guy that has shown up in big moments. Fourth quarter was big the other night. How does he continue to be a guy that you guys know you can rely on late in football?
Yeah, consistency in who he is, the energy, the focus, the work habits, the practice habits. It's who he is every single day, so you know exactly what you're going to get on game day. You know, that's the model of consistency is what you need to become the player in every moment that you want to be. He's been a great leader. You guys have heard me say that. He's continued to grow, dynamic in his playmaking ability. That can be out of the backfield catching the football. That can be him running the football. You saw him run through tackles the other night. You saw him bounce off people and extend and make plays. And he was really good in pass protection too. So he's becoming a complete football player, and we got great trust in him. But we got great trust in all those backs too.
Thank you, Coach.